Yeah. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Test, 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 test net. Kachoy, kachoy, kachoy. Nothing has changed. How we doing, Lions? Let's get the thangs up and running. Okay, we should be all set. Any questions? All right, any questions? How we doing, Lions? Lapita says, what's the BTC plan for today? We're just going to be patient and see which high it wants. So make sure that you're caught up on what we talked about yesterday, Lapidus. I doubt the high gets put in today. So if it gets put in today, we'll take a short attempt, obviously. But like a Monday, Tuesday all-time high would be the easiest short if you want to short. Obviously, it's not a good high. It's a bad high up there, 2 blocks. So high probability it'll get cleaned, right? Any questions? Triple J, did you TP any on the long last night? Nope. Yeah, but Triple J, let me ask you something. Have I TP'd really any longs? Have you noticed that instead of shaving any of my longs, even from like 78, I'm just hedge shorting? I don't know if you've noticed that yet, but for maybe the last 6, 7, 8 months, I haven't really TP'd anything. I'm sure Azaz has the clip, but do you know what I'm really aiming for when I say I think 2025 is going to be bullish? I'm aiming for like 125 and higher. So I'm not going to shave anything on any longs. And I'm just going to continue to hedge short. It's always been that way. You know, at the same token, there's motherfuckers that'll be like, why are you shorting? Because I'm not shaving any longs. Yeah, so I don't think I'll shave any longs, to be honest, regardless of what the entry is, all the way up to 125, 130. That's been the plan since last year. Yeah, but yeah, unless I feel like it's a really shitty entry, I'm gonna, every long that I add into or get into, I'm gonna just try to hedge short. Yeah, but you gotta decide which one is better for you. Do you wanna shave or do you wanna hedge short? You always have that sort of decision to make. Skiller says, I'm in a short from 108001 for morning. Nice. Just be aware that it's a bad high up there, okay? Takashima says, morning, Kimba. Are you in any position right now? Yeah, I mean, Takashima, just remember that I'm always in positions. If you're talking about, did I scalp anything today? No. I just have everything that's been opened from the past. Yeah, but let me know if you have any questions, Takashima. Just because I'm not going to take a scalp long or a scalp short doesn't mean that there isn't an opportunity to. It just might not be worth it for me. But if you're scalping or you're trading smaller time frame, there's plenty of stuff that you could take right now. So as you can probably see in chat, there's, you know, a handful of lions that got in on the long, on the 7.5 retrace and the golden pocket retrace. Some people are in shorts right now. So the question is can you articulate to me all of the edge that exists right now? So can you tell me if open interest is bullish or bearish? Can you tell me if S&P is bullish or bearish? So what you want to do is, you know, every day show up and make sure that you know how to read data. And then you can just start picking your own positions, brother. All right. For me, I've been talking about these levels for quite some time now. Obviously, that's a bad high. Okay. So I'm never going to take a short right here. You know, I'm not going to short like a bad high like that. If I'm going to chase a short, I'm going to let it nuke through the golden pocket, and it's going to be something like this probably. So you already, if you have been watching and you are paying attention, you know that if I'm going to take a short, it's most likely this one. But I would never ever short that. And that's the way that I've traded for the last 3 years. Why would I never short that? It's a bad high. All right. So even if you don't trade today, Takemashi-san, you might have juiced the fuck up today just by knowing that. But I play by the book. I do the same shit every single time. So you should automatically know that I'm not going to be in a short if it's a bad high. And I know how I would chase the short if the short actually looks like it's going to work. All right. I'm prepared to scalp long and I'm prepared to scalp short. Right now, there's no good convincing edge for me to do anything. I have my longs from the last couple months, even from yesterday. Stop the music. Stop Profito says, will we front run all-time high? Probably not, right? So do you remember when we talked about that for the, I don't know, the last 3-4 weeks? And we said, watch, pay attention to this, this, and this, right? There were 3 things that we said would indicate that we might front run the all-time high. Do you remember that? So I'm prepared. I'm looking at the data. I know exactly when I would say, okay, maybe we are going to front run it. None of those things are lining up. So in my opinion, based off of the preparation and the anticipation and looking at the data that we said we would look at for the last 3-4 weeks, we're still going to get all-time high, if not higher. Yeah, but I think the most important thing, Stop Profito, is whether you're looking at the same data as I am or not. As long as you're prepared, you know what I mean? That's all that matters. If you're trying to just stare at this shit and figure out a plan right now, I mean, think about how many fucking idiots are looking at this shit and they're gonna try to freestyle this today, tomorrow, next week. I mean, we were trying to get into longs at 70, at 80. You know what I mean? And I've been hedging short since 98. And every single hedge short that I've had since 98, I've done it literally the exact same way. I'm going to still do the same thing if I'm going to have a hedge short opportunity. There's going to be people that haven't shorted for fucking weeks or months, Stop Profito. But think about the way that we've been doing it. We were bullish, right? Down in the 70s, 77, like 80s, right? We've been talking about this level for quite some time. And I've been short hedging since 98, dude. This is like my 11th short attempt. And think about this, dude. I didn't lose a fucking dollar on any of my short attempts from like 92 to here. So I'm feeling really good that I won't fuck it up either this time around. So it's like muscle memory for me at this point. But again, the most important thing is that you just execute what you think is the best way to execute for your money, you know? I'm going to do me. So if you've actually been paying attention and you were asking good questions, you should know exactly how I'm going to take a head short. If there is, you should know what the 3 data points are that I'm looking at. So yeah, let's get it. That's why being prepared is so invaluable. You don't want to be the guy that's like, fuck, I wish I had researched a little bit more on swing fail pattern. Fuck, I wish I knew how to read open interest better. Fuck, I wish I knew what the 3 drives was. You know, fuck, I watched the highlights from 3 weeks ago when he nerded out on the swing fail pattern here for 3 hours. But I just want everybody to feel prepared and ready to seize upon that opportunity. You got to be prepared. The world, fate, destiny, God, whatever you believe in gives you the opportunity, and then your preparation and the opportunity intersecting, that's what, you know, gives you success in life. So yeah, it's whether you're bullish or bearish, it's just about feeling confident in the preparation. You feel me? But start with some basic things like, is the high good? You know, is it bad? You know, is S&P confluence important for you? Yes or no? Where's S&P's level? You know, or do you not care about getting into a short before S&P reaches the top? I mean, these are all questions that I probably asked you guys multiple times every single day for the last couple weeks. Today is just another pop quiz. Y'all ready? Let's get this generational juice. Quit playing with me, chat. Ka-cha! Let's get it, chat. Fred says, let's fucking juice. Let's go. Mark, let's go. Giuseppe, let's go. 604, let's get it. Ephilion, let's get it. Nixo, let's get it. Ricky, let's get it. How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? Well, what do you think? Everything prepared? Everything talked about? So first things first, we waited patiently for all-time high on CME to actually get cleaned. Got him. Good to go. Finally, levels got hit. S&P confluence with that level that we wanted flipped into support, being resistance, pixel perfect. It just kind of depends on where. I mean, first off, if you didn't even want to hedge short, then I don't know what to tell you, right? I think most of you guys were just shorting maybe a little bit too early. All right, but you know, we were waiting for the all-time high. So we finally got the all-time high. That was amazing. All right, and I think it just kind of depends on where people's plan B and plan C threshold was. Obviously, I think for me and most people, it was like the RTH high, right? So whether you actually got in on golden pocket or that's your entry, you know, it doesn't really matter. Well done. And then obviously structure has changed. As soon as it made a lower low, your stop loss is break even. All right, not too shabby. So now that, Azaz, you got that clip, it would be nice to get a 110 to 100 short. Would be nice, huh? Easy. Hey, y'all better quit playing with me, chat. Pixel. But that's exactly how we do the head shorts, ladies and gentlemen. Not too bad. Is it possible to get a bearish retest of RTH high? Sure, but remember, we talked about this. You needed to bet on if you were gonna get an RTH actual retest, or if you just want to market smash because you already have your invalidation. Regardless of whether you're waiting for it or not, it's the same thing. Yeah, but could you get it? Sure. Yeah, but this is where we start to talk about, okay, because look, if it goes back up above RTH high or like the 75786, now you're starting to build a bad high. So then you're probably starting to shift your focus on, okay, Monday swing fail short. So that automatically tells me if you're, because there's a difference between not being prepared and not having the 109 short and hoping that you get a bearish retest, or actually being patient and waiting for that, or maybe waiting for Monday for the short. So it's always going to come down to like, you know, how you were going to play this. So, but it's a Wednesday. We got the all-time high. So, you know, the trigger point is now good to go. Yeah. But if you are, I think you would have already been deciding if you were going to short 109 or not, based off of if you thought you were going to get the retest or not. All right, I forgot account says, bruh, I was waiting for 110. Yeah, so this is why forgot account. Well, first off, make sure you rewind and get caught up, okay? But this is why I always say that it's not about random levels. It's about data. Yeah, so, you know, swing fail, you should know what a swing fail looks like, you know? We were waiting for all-time high. Right. So I said this many times in the last few days, but you should not care how high it goes. Okay. It could be a baby dick sweep. It could be a you know what sweep. All right. But you expecting or waiting for a random level is always going to fuck you. And I told you, do not, if your plan is to get the most ideal entry, I don't think that's considered planning, to be honest. More often than not, your plan B and plan C is what should fill you. So, like I said, that 109, I think, was pretty much everybody's sort of trigger point. The RTH high. So that's why, like, you wanted to really listen to the nerd outs about the difference between an ETH high and an RTH high. So, and even the planning of, do you want to take the short on Wednesday? What about Thursday? What about Friday? You know, what about Monday? All of that is going to start to kind of matter. Yep. I mean, even settlement tomorrow will have a pretty big impact on if I think it's bearish or bullish going into the 3-day holiday weekend. Everybody knows that Monday is Memorial Day weekend in the US. It's a 3-day holiday weekend, chat. Are you ready? Initial hazard, exclamation, Boogama Mama. Love you, brother. Burbeezy says pixel. Pixel perfect, pixel perfect. Azaz says, Kimba, now that we hit all-time high on Coinbase and CME, what's your plan for the 100K zone? Yeah, I would love to TP the short down there. Yeah, but first things first, we need to turn VWAP into resistance. I don't know if that's completely done yet. Obviously, if we turn value area high into resistance, what is it going to be called? We got the full rotate. All right, so we'll just take it level by level. I think it's just pixel fucking, so... Out of pocket says, missed the short by a hair, crying right now. That's okay. You just got to do a better job of preparing. If you think that you're going to get the entry that you want, you're still retail, right? What you want to do is assume you're going to miss the entry that you want, the most ideal scenario, right? And have a plan B and plan C. Yeah, so we talked about it, but, you know, if you didn't want to short 109 when it lost 109, then I don't think you were really bearish or you wanted to short. Their version of risk management is getting the highest entry possible or the lowest entry possible because that's how you minimize the amount of money you lose. You don't really know if you want to short. You don't really know if you want to long, but you're trying to manage risk. And your perverted interpretation of that is I want the best possible entry so that way if I'm wrong, I have the least amount of loss. But that's not trading, right? And that's not risk management. I don't know if you are a believer in things like the first candle arrives, the second candle cleans. All right. I kept, you know, warning people, but until it cleans the ETH all-time high, I don't think it's worth shorting. So it depends on how much of all of that you agree with and how much of that you trust yourself because you've seen it play out yourself. So, you know, you probably don't want to short until the ETH all-time high is cleaned, okay? Your plan A is if it sweeps, you're going to take the short, right? Let's say that sweep was way too fast, okay? You had a golden pocket that you could have bearish retest shorted, or just to keep it simple, it's the 109 level getting lost, and then that wick is your invalidation. You never know. There's always going to be another trade. Let me ask you this. If this bounces at the 886 and goes back to the golden pocket, are you going to try to take a bearish retest of that? Or would you prefer to wait until the RTH 109 gets bearish retested? You should never really sit there and waste time talking about coulda, shoulda, woulda. You need to be thinking about the next one. Or otherwise you're going to fuck up the next one. And maybe fate just wants you to juice up on that aspect. Maybe it's not really so much about the trade itself, but the ability to quickly pivot onto the next one and not be so, you know, caught up in I missed it. Yeah, but I would say that if you didn't want to short 109, then you were probably the type to be like, Kimba, why are you shorting 98? Kimba, why are you shorting 102? What's up with the head shorts? And I'm sure there's a clip, but if this does actually start to change structure and we don't get stopped out, then I would love to get the whole TP on the short at like 100 and long that. So we talk about this a lot, but just pretend these are not 8-hour candles. Pretend these are 5-minute candles. I wonder if I can do it on here. I mean, this is loose, but yeah, like if these were 5-minute candles, right? RTH clean, RTH clean. So where does the 8-hour candle close? Where does the settlement close? Is it below the sweep level or is it above? I think everybody knows how to play that. Obviously, if this swing fails a bad high and then if it goes back in here, then you're gonna be looking at the other side. Obviously, does it need to go to the other side? No, this is your first level of support that you're gonna have around that 9,800 area and that gap. So, you know, value area high, value area low, kind of like a point of control situation. You guys know what it is. So it really just comes down to being prepared. You know what I mean? Anything you guys want to talk about? Exo Lion, you good? Tigrin, you good? Mintish Handsome, what's going on? Happy Wednesday, Lions. How we doing? Well, we're getting the 8A6 to what rotation? Everybody see the VWAP? How we doing? SMP, you son of a bitch. Tigrin says the only sus thing about this short is that it's Wednesday. For sure, but to be fair, Tigrin, I specifically said that even if it's a Wednesday, I'll take it. Fuck, I'll take it on a Friday, Tigrin. Right? With the understanding that the best one is gonna be on Monday, and I'm gonna just make sure that I don't lose. This is my 12th, 13th short that I've tried to take, and I haven't lost on any of them, so I'm not tripping at all. You know? But I can imagine people like fucking up short if they haven't been shorting like me for the last 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. So like I said in the morning, it was going to be muscle memory. I see where the RTH high is. Go ahead and clean the ETH high. I don't care how high or how low it is, but does it tuck back below RTH? That's all I care about for today. Yeah, this is the play. The RTH sweep. But now RTH has set its all-time high, so it's good. As of right now, the tail looks okay, so we'll just see where it closes, chat. Yeah, not too bad, huh? All right, how many people, hold on a second. How many people got spanked around a little bit the last couple days? How many people need a quick little like $1,000 giveaway? Let's do 500 per person. And does everybody that's just said that they need a giveaway, are you guys prepared for the giveaway? You have your profile pictures uploaded. If you don't have a profile picture on the bottom of the screen, you're not even eligible for the giveaway. Does everybody have all that shit ready to go? You're following the YouTube, you're following the Twitter, you're in the Discord, you have uploaded a profile picture in the dashboard. I would love to give every single one of you guys somewhere from $500 to $1,000. Okay? But if you're showing me that you don't even care, then what am I supposed to do? Exclamation giveaway, exclamation Discord, exclamation YouTube. Math is the math. MEXC83 says, I need Templar. I got you, Mex. I might reach out to you this weekend. All right. Kagum says, spanked so hard. Is it really, but is it because the planning is just ass? Or is it because your stop loss is not where it should be? Yeah, but pretty soon here, brother, I'm gonna choose 10 people randomly every week. And every day in the morning, we're gonna go through each trade idea that everybody has. Okay, we'll talk about entries, we'll talk about stop loss, we'll talk about TP, when you should put your stop loss into break even, you know. And the best trade idea, I will actually take it with you, you know. But there's really no right or wrong, brother. So even if you short it, like, what did you do? Short too early? I feel like the only way you could have really fucked up is if you were really aggressive with shorting and you just kept getting stopped out, stopped out, stopped out. You know, and maybe the fees or like the little small losses ate you up. But if you were here, like, there was nothing that stated CME ETH high wasn't gonna get cleaned, you know? And that's okay. There's really no right or wrong. Listen, like, this is why we always talk about it's not really about being right or wrong or predicting the future. You know, I was bitching and complaining about how the CME ETH high needs to be cleaned by RTH in December. And here we are, middle of May, I finally got what I wanted. Right? How many of you guys remember in December when I was bitching and moaning and complaining about dude, that's unfucking believable that high is not set by RTH and it's an ETH. I finally got it. You know? So, there's really no right or wrong, but if you didn't want to short 109, then I don't know if you were really that bearish, you know, because what you're really looking for is the RTH swing fail. You want the high to be set during RTH. So it really doesn't matter how high it goes. It's the idea that it went up and then it tucked right back below 109 again. Just like this. So it might feel like it's scary, but unfortunately, like we talked about, you know, your invalidation is whatever the local high is, but you're trying to get into a short before it goes back below 109, basically. And if you're going to have to market smash, you're doing it because you don't know if you're going to get a bearish retest or not. So, and then as of right now, I mean, it looks pixel perfect to me, but we don't get bearish on the penetration. We get bearish on the what? It's not even getting above value area low, or I mean value area high and settlement or VWAP. Let's bring back the old fib. So I haven't seen one 30-minute body candle close above 7.5. What it should have done is it should have gone from 886 all the way to the golden pocket and VWAP. So this is your third 30-minute candle close below 75786. Ladies and gentlemen, how do you confirm that the 7.5 indeed was the bearish retest? You don't have to go with it feels like, it looks like, it smells like, we don't know. But there's a mathematical thing that tells us, okay, that was the bearish retest. It would be the narrative of structure change wouldn't happen, meaning that it would still make a lower low, right? It's not going to be able to make a higher low. It's going to just continue to make a lower low, and then it's going to be another a lower high, and then another lower low. So lots of stuff in front of us. We have 48 minutes until U.S. markets close. So real quick, I'm curious, how many people are in shorts right now? Hands up. How many people already in shorts? Any questions? Uranium says, Kimba, what if it goes and makes the new ETH high? Awesome. I wanted to go to 125, 130. Azaz should probably have a clip from our December plan. Yeah, but uranium, first things first. Okay, so if it does go, then I'm not shorting ETH, uranium. I just told you how I was patient and waited for the RTH high to be made. So any sort of short has to be during RTH at this point for me. So If ETH wants to do its thing, then I'm okay. Yeah. What I would say is we have 8 minutes left on US market close. If this keeps it up, settlement is going to be higher than previous day settlement. That's bullish. Okay. Do you see where it's pixel fucking? How cool is this? Right? And you've been here long enough to understand that if golden pocket gets turned into support, what does it mean? So we don't have to sit here and guess if golden pocket is going to be support or resistance. We know what it looks like if it's 2, 3, 30-minute candle closes, right? There's 15 minutes of post-market trading that happens on RTH. So the settlement is going to come in later, right? So theoretically, what you could do is divide those 30-minute candles up into 4 15-minute candle closes, and the rest is up to what does open interest look like, and is that a hidden CVD bear div? That's it. Pretty cool, huh? What do you think about the useless lines, bruh? Yeah, and like this is what I mean, Hazy. Do you understand what I mean by, look, you were either gonna be patient for the bearish retest, or you were more aggressive and bearish, and you already were in it on the market. All right. So none of this should really be that surprising. Things take time, but this is pure math. All right. Are you already in yet? Brother, you need to rewind and get caught up, but I specifically told you that my stop loss is behind the 786 and I'm still Gucci. So I'm not going to re-enter. I don't have anything to re-enter. I haven't gotten stopped out yet. When I said that I'll tell you when I re-enter is if I get stopped out. You need to make sure you're caught up and you know where my stop loss is. I already told you where my stop loss is, my guy. I said my entry is good enough where I can put it behind 75786 and it'll still be break even. So what I'm talking about re-entering is either the bad high getting left behind, failed auction, and or it's a swing fail of an all-time another high. Yeah, but I'm not going to enter if I don't get stopped. I'm not going to re-enter if I don't get stopped out. But yeah, make sure you get caught up. I swear to God, we were fucking talking about the bearish retest of the RTH high. I don't know if you're like new to the Fibonacci play, but if it really is a swing fail, it's not going to lose the blank. So at this point, like with all that being said, you've got to kind of come up to the plate with your own bias. Like, are you looking to scalp long or are you looking to scalp short? Okay. And I'll say it again, and I said it before, but if you're not going to take this bearish retest, then you're not bearish, and that's okay. But nobody at this point should be talking about, oh, I missed it by $50. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You had all fucking day. If I really, really wanted to play this game all night, I would just make sure that I got round tripped, and I would play the Fibonacci. Because this is already kind of showing me that it's willing to respect it, right? So I'm going to be cognizant and aware that it front ran the 7.5, and you know whether it's the ski trip, all right, whether it's the Hawaii trips, all right. But you and I, a lot of OGs, all right, we all know that if it front runs the Coinbase spot like that, it'll clean it. Okay, so if you really, really want to short, then I would just do the 8A6 to golden pocket play. And then I would understand that 8A6 and then turning this into support would be like the ultimate no-no. And again, I would just put my stop loss immediately at break even. But you also know that when a situation like this arises, and if it's giving it a potential to do a bad high, I'm not going to take it. Rather, I'm going to take the failed auction structure where the golden pocket support turning into resistance. That's the one I'll take. So I already know how I'm going to play this if I get round tripped, and I know how I'm going to play it for the next 3 days, I feel like. Yeah, but definitely no point in, there's no, yeah, it's not worth losing money on a Wednesday short. No way. And the bearish retest happened right before RTH settlement, so not worth the fight. Yeah, but at least it's pixel perfect. So, 7505, and then if it really is bearish, it's going to be able to turn golden pocket into resistance. What would that mean? You're going to see a lower low. So, at least it's like third grade TA guiding us, and just take it for what it is. Don't like hope. P2P says, yup, just took a tiny P. Nice. How would you chase it if you wanted to get back in? Hey, P2P, look at this, though. This is going to fucking probably drive you crazy. Yo, good job. Fuck these fibs. Yeah, it's just fibbing. So I don't, I don't know. It is what it is, But dude, it's fibbing inside of a fib, man, and it's Macaulay. So what are you gonna do? If you got stopped out, no big deal. I would usually say you don't want to get stopped out at golden pocket, right? Whether it's the bigger one or the smaller one. Yeah, but this is normal though, right? It went to 7.5, it bounced off of 0.5, and then it's gonna do a bearish retest. So if it really is bullish, this is the bull's opportunity to turn the golden pocket into support. If it isn't really that bullish, then we're gonna see a lower low come into play, and it's gonna do the bearish structure shift at the golden pocket. So meaning it's gonna pivot at the golden pocket with a lower low and a higher low, a lower high. So, all right, 40 minutes of this bullshit, so stay safe, yo. You guys are the best, man. Martin says, so just following the fib, bears right now need to go to the 382. Bulls need to turn 0.5 into support. No. Bulls need to turn this into support. So that means that would mean that this got turned into support. That would mean that it got turned into resistance on the smaller time frame anyways. Obviously, like open interest or hidden CVD divs and stuff like that, if you can anticipate, will obviously add flavor to this. But I think a lot of people are getting a little bit you're maybe overcomplicating it. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. So 7505 golden pocket, is it support? Is it resistance? And then whether it's this or this or this, I'll be paying attention to that. And then here. And then I'll probably do something like this. So somewhere in between here and here, I will have an opportunity to get into shorts. But ultimately, what I'm looking for is this to get turned into resistance. So I would love it if I don't get stopped out and this just goes like this. I would love that. That's hella easy. I don't have to do anything. I already did my homework. I already got filled. I wish it was Friday, to be honest. I think I would get away with it if it was a Friday. But yeah, it's only Wednesday. I think it's because of how sleepy and tired I am. I keep thinking it's Friday, but... Ka-choy! Well... Time to say, or not goodbyes, but maybe see you later. Sebinator, great work today, Sebinator. All right. I hope you don't get stopped out. But even if you do, Sebinator, think about it this way, Coke, Sebinator. If you do get stopped out, it's probably because the short is actually good. And it's going to try to stop everybody out before they do the damn thing. So it's okay if you get round tripped, but you have a chance to maybe prove yourself that you're in the special group where you're not going to get got. So it's always another opportunity, another chance to kind of put yourself to the test and see if you know what you're doing. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe. Don't do anything crazy without me. Hey, if you're going to do something crazy, let me know. Let me do it with you. Longers, shorters, I'd wanna be here with you. Bulls, Bears, we're all Lions. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Can we give it up for Houston and Cage?